without further ado, I would like to introduce Daniel Nenesso on the art of allowing.
Oh, thank you. You put it so elegantly.
I'm horrible with words, so that was really well.
You're about to get awesome. Yeah, so this is the art of allowing, and it is that way because from what I have come to know, from what I know, there is only one thing that's really relevant in knowing anything else, and that's that everything is vibration. And knowing that everything is vibration means that everything is always moving, which can be chalked down to that eternalness and eternity. So everything's doing that. And basically concluding that we're thoughts. We're thoughts that have just been thought into form. And as those thoughts have thought themselves into form, they've congealed and thickened and layered themselves into pieces of the whole that are now fully capable of experiencing. So that takes expansion to a whole new level. And that's where we're at. That's what this is. It's the leading edge of creation or of the universe, of eternalness. We're the white bubbles on the big wave. So things like this gathering and these topics and this sort of vernacular are passions of mine because that cutting edge just tickles me. And it's kind of like my little cat. I'm house-sitting a cat right now, Jenny. If she comes in, that's cool. And I've never had a pet, so I've always wanted to say, if my dog or cat comes into the frame, don't mind. But no, she's like a real person. So yeah, resonance, vibration. And the only two things considerably that you need to bring into awareness really is who are you? Means what's your original vibration? What's your source? What's in you? What is that thing that I am that I am? And, well, who am I right now? In the all of the nowness that is this isness around me right now. So who am I now, and who do I know I really am? And it's come to be my knowing that when you're pointed in the direction of going home, so to speak, being called into the light or the higher vibrations, those things that you want to resonate with begin to pop up in your experience like kernels popping popcorn. So that's why the art of allowing is appropriate. If you're familiar with the teachings of Abraham Hicks, they talk about this as well, and it's really a great voice to listen to. So the art of allowing. So now, what that means to me, and what I'm sharing with you, is that when you first come to accept that there are two vibrational aspects of yourself, which are your source or soul origin, or your spirit, or whatever it is that you want to call yourself, maybe you just say consciousness. It's the same thing. And then you have the aspect of yourself, which is who you are in personality, the person in reality. And then everything else that seems to be outside of you, or outside of those two things, are actually nothing more than an attracted, symbolic representation of the essence of what you're really giving off. Because other things can lie, but what you really are is where you really are. Some people can be fascinated with past life or regression. And those things are cool too, but that's all things happening at once. That's just your resonance. That's what you're allowing. You're in that vibrational vicinity, so everything that you are and everything that is going to show itself there. Like when you go to the rock station and you're driving on a road trip, you want to hear some rock music. You know that all the songs might not be by the same artist, they won't, but they'll all be rock songs. So that's what vibrational resonance is. And the art of allowing is just allowing yourself, where you're at now in your personality, to resonate, not to try and make happen, not to move the particles within you yourself, they're already moving, but to consciously, deliberately guide yourself to where it is you desire to be, which is always just in that direction. You don't need so many things as objects first to throw yourself there. Sometimes we do that with jobs or things outside of us, work, obligations, commitments, relationships, children. But it is my point here today to bring it clearly across to you that those considerations should not come before the number one, which is you. Because if you don't have conscious control over your vibration, especially when you know what that is and you lose it, you won't be able to stand it. It will be as if you're a musical instrument, or better yet, a musician, playing a musical instrument that's out of tune. You'll always hear a musician get familiar with his instrument before he plays it, even if it's the same instrument, because it can be tuned to different resonances. So, what do you guys want to talk about? Anything. I don't know.
That's my question.
Wait, does this mean nothing?
What? No, I think it looks like Karen from Sydney has a question.
Karen, double jeopardy! All right, it's the daily double. Karen Ayla Drew. How do you make her go on the air?
She either has to unmute her microphone, which she can do by clicking the microphone, or she can just type her question down in the chat box.
Okay, so Karen, unmute your microphone, which is in the center of your screen, just above my head. Did you do that?
Otherwise, if she's typing, if someone else has a question that they want to ask about allowing or resonance or anything else, really, I guess, feel free to just type it or unmute your microphone and come on up.
The fun stuff, the best part about this is it has no difference to me if it has anything to do with vibration, resonance, energy, law of attraction, or anything like that. I'm going to assume that you already have knowledge on those things, and you want to chew on the stuff you're working towards using the conscious awareness that you're now realizing. So any question is suited for this discussion. A red dot came over my mic. Karen A. Ledoux says. Peyton, I see you humming. I can only imagine what that sounds like.
It sounds a little bit like that. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, awesome. Well, I have a question. Hello, everyone.
Wait,
glad to be here. This is Peyton. Hot right on.
Hey, this is our first live interaction.
For real. It's great to see you in the physical on a computer. All right, so I would love to know, or I'd love to talk a little bit about different tools that we can use, such as quantum jumping, and I just took my first introduction to journeying, the shamanic practice workshop, and it was awesome. And I'm wondering, do you use any of these things and play around with them when you are just finding the next step, allowing the next step to come to you on your path? Do you use these kind of things? And there it is. You know what I'm talking about?
If something comes along, especially being sensitive to things that are of a germane vibration to the one I'm practicing, I notice when it's not that vibration. So if something comes along and it happens to be in the form of something like a book or a process or a tool, there's absolutely an exploration that actually goes beyond me. It's actually the bulk of who I am moving towards that, because that's what law of attraction does. So if it is in my path of least resistance to get to something I'm trying to get to, that I think that particular tool will help me do or get to, then that thing, that tool or process will be attracted to me. So yes, I use certain things that come to me, but I can't say predominantly. What I do use is premeditated thought. And I guess to extrapolate, it's just meditating my movement. You mean? Like just being present with the energy, which is what happens before physical things start moving or happening. If you don't have yourself in here, you don't have yourself out there. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Oh yeah. And you threw something interesting in there. So I want to talk about, you said quantum jumping. Let's chew on that a little more. Is that something you're actively seeking some sort of tool to do?
Well, I've just seen it be really helpful a couple of times in my experience. I mean, even stuff with like some pretty specific technical kind of computer software questions, and I was able to help myself receive the answer. And yeah, some cool stuff. So it's not something that I'm really actively pursuing now, but it's a fun thing to do sometimes in a group setting when people are on board and down for that, and just explain your experience.
So you're down fun in numbers, are you? That's good. Yeah, so whatever you have that's coming to you that feels fun on impulse, I mean, really it's just an exploration. How many books can you say you read and were kind of useless, and then later on in life they came back to be proving quite profound in some way, either to you or to someone you now know? Yeah, but quantum jumping.
I almost follow.
Peyton?
You want me to talk about it?
No, is there a question that you have?
Oh, I'm here now. I think my internet is kind of a little bit slower, so it's kind of lagging. But I'm now present. I'm in the now.
Now, the only place we could ever be. Do you have any specific things you want to chew on about quantum jumping?
Well, I guess it just came to me in the moment. Just wondering what thoughts you had about it, or if you have enjoyed playing around with that part of reality.
If your goal is to actually quantum jump, let's say there's two ways maybe to look at it. Which one do you prefer? The one to look at jumping ahead in your timeline and just being somewhere where you're not quicker, or being where you're at but using other lifetimes or versions of yourself to gain access to things you didn't have before?
Ooh. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't quite realize in words that's what I'm doing, but I often do that first one that you mentioned. I'll just decide what I want, and then I'll go ahead and I'll be in the now moment there, and I'll be in the now moment here, and I'll be in the now both, and then it can just happen that much more quickly. So I guess that is quantum jumping.
It is
what you're saying?
And now
that's awesome.
It's only a jump, and it's only quantum when it's really big, right? But when it's really close, and you practice the vibration of it, doesn't it just become really close, actually, and logical, and not a leap, but just a step?
Yep.
You said you used it before. That's great. That's what that was. You got technical knowledge on something that you didn't have access to before, but you consciously knew you could. So you got out of the way about the problem, and you actually allowed yourself to have access to the solution.
Yes.
Or whatever that was. So that's what it is. So even the name quantum leaping, I wouldn't even use the quantumness of it. I would say I'm just reaching into my folder box and I'm pulling out another profile I have in myself. And I didn't know that in this version, vibrational reality, I was a genius. But this is the file. This is the proof. I'd like to read this.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Karen A. LeDrew, did you have your solution be allowed to you?
I do believe I do. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can, loud and clear. I think I heard you laughing earlier.
I did. Sorry about that. I'm just wondering how we can find out when our vibes are all on the same level. Sometimes I get those really good vibes, and then I feel that it's not always so good. So what I do is try to go into a positive affirmation and make sure they're on the same level. But is it possible to always be on the same level?
Same level, like always feeling really good?
Being good, on a good note, you know, on a good vibe.
Yeah. Well, it is, depending on who's watching you, but it is, but that should never be your goal. In the sense that if you always feel good, you leave no room for improvement, because the feeling that you're feeling and resonating with, after a while, that tone sort of gets, not boring, but you want more focus. Make that louder. I like that song. Turn that song up, please.
Okay,
and so then
that's
you might
exactly what I've been doing.
those things happening around you, those things that you might say help you to lose your good vibration, but they're actually there to help you focus in on that higher flying vibration. Because in the presence of it, it would require you to focus more, and you know that that's your work. So blessed be, it's sort of like pulling a focus on a lens, and all of a sudden you have clarity, a new level of a good vibe. There's always the new and there's always the next.
Okay, well, great, because I'm feeling that I'm into the new, and I'm really excited about getting to the next.
But not as exciting as it is right now. Because
not with talking to you personally? No, yeah, this is very exciting.
Because you know what you now know. So this is the best place that you can be, but you can look forward to other things. But the moment something either in the past or the present gets recognized as better than now, your power diminishes, because we know the power is in the now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome, Karen A. LeDrew. For you people who don't know this, I'm going to tell you a little secret, that Karen A. LeDrew is my mother.
And I just love them to pieces.
I knew you would be the first one. I'm glad you got through. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show, Mom. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're doing great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is also my first live event in a webinar forum with Charlie here in our Ascension. So thanks for the support, Mom. Does anybody else have any good questions they want to chew on? About anything in the whole wide world? Nobody? Does that mean nobody? Well, we could just start talking. Okay, great. What we can do also, guys, this is really good. As the stone skips across the pond that you're skipping in a perfect rhythm, if you're not formulating a question, that's okay. What you can also do is you can just go over to the chat box and just type in words or a subject or anything that you just want to guide me to. That's pretty cool too, you know. You want to talk about financial mastery or emotions or lovers. That's a good one. Your morning rituals. Oh, that's very, very clever of you, Peyton. Amazing. Karen A. LeDrew, your microphone is...
Still on. I see that.
Yeah, you got to hit unmute or mute. That's good. So, yeah, Peyton, rituals. Very important, because rituals are your habituals. And your habituals become the bitch that your life becomes. So basically what I'm saying there is your rituals have huge leveraging power because they're actually training you from an open perspective, so to speak. Meaning you're doing it for self-improvement. And you want self-improvement so much that you're willing to endure what feels like a little pain or overwhelmment when you first take on these new rituals. How am I going to juice? What kind of juicer should I get? There's so much to learn about this. I didn't know that they would be this expensive. Now that I know I need these probiotic supplements that are $100, I don't know what I'm going to do because I don't have $100 for these supplements or something like this. You know what I mean? Thought we were going to have somebody join us live. Anything can happen at my studio. Someone could just walk in. So, rituals are very important. But you're not going to come up with an effective ritual or be attracted to one if you're not in the range of it. You know what I mean? If you're not resonating close enough to it, it's not going to occur to you to start doing a meditation process in the morning. Waking up and meditating for 15 minutes, first thing you do. Second thing you do is you take out a book and a pen and you start writing down things you're grateful for, if you want to call it that, your gratitude book or your book of appreciation, and you just start going off on things that are going to ramp up your vibration. You know what vibration does. So what is it you're going to do about it? If you know how vibration raises, it raises when you feel good about what you're thinking and doing. So wouldn't you want to feel better about what it is you're thinking and doing? No matter who it is, what it's about, or where you're at. So if you do that, then you automatically know that's the easiest thing in the world because there's no technical wording in that ritual. The ritual is just get good, get happy, get good at being happy. And then your vibration raises, and then you know that it must come back and reflect to you. So rituals are just getting you into a trained vibration to sort of distract you, because if you're doing a ritual and after a week you're hooked on the results that you know typically come after 6 weeks, it's not going to feel so good. I'm going to look over to the chat box and divert attention. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, this is good, guys. Get your words together. I'm going to get mine, and as it goes on, you'll realize we've got a lot of time here. Do you mean that you must be in the proper mood for the ritual to take this actual? Thank you. That's absolutely perfect, Mom. No, that is true. Did you ever try to go and take out affirmations and list them off or read them or say them when you're not in a good mood? They don't sound so good. They don't sound like good affirmations, you know? To know that one I use for myself is I'm the deliberate creator of my own reality. I am. But it doesn't sound so good when you bumped into this guy Hetty in your car, and now you got a fender bender, and you're late for work, and things are, you know what I mean? So yes, it matters. Raise your vibration as naturally as you can first. Soak up the sun is raising, everything is good. I know I'm an eternal being. I know that energy is keeping me together, and there's nothing I got to do about it. Just lullaby yourself with those things, and then tackle the other stuff. Cool. You're welcome. My pleasure. That's what it is. Think about it like play, playing with clay. When an artist or a sculptor has clay in front of him, he can't really do much with it when it's cold and dry. It's got to be a nice level of moisture, and it's got to be at a certain temperature so that it can be molded. That's exactly what your emotions do. When you're high-flying in emotion, feeling frisky, feeling good, feeling great, feeling joyful, knowing who you really are, in those feelings, your clay is completely moldable, so your reality starts to shape to reflect that directly, physically, instead of staying sort of like the same clump for a long period of time. Really good. No more questions? We could just continue on. Getting into a state of allowing when you're in fear or stress mode. Okay. Do you have any advice for getting into a state of allowing when you're in a fear or stress mode? Yes. Recognition. Recognition. Recognize what you want to align to. Do you have any advice for getting into a state of allowing when you're in fear or stress mode? Yes. Realize what you are able to allow from where you are. You know what I mean? You're not going to expect to suck cement out of a cup with a straw. The straw will collapse, right? So when you're in, let's say, fear or stress, those are pretty low on the emotional scale from where you know you are. So if you're in fear, actually stress is better than fear in vibration, you know? I'd rather be distressful about a situation than in fear. So already, if you're in fear, you know how you can diffuse it and actually become a little stressed about it instead of being fearful. For the only reason that you know your job at any moment is to always go up in vibration or up in emotion until you find your equilibrium, your balance. Balance is really important. Some people can have all this light within them and they're just all lighted out. They're just blurred. There's barely any grains to them, you know? So they're not as animated with it, you know what I mean? Out of the mind and into the heart, yeah, that's the way that you could put it. The mind and the heart. Earlier on when I was saying about how the mind and the heart are like the two aspects of you, or they could be considered so, where your soul or your source, your energetic polar version of you, that vibration is playing out over here within you, as you, but you're being another vibration, which is where you live with your mind, who you created yourself to be. And so your job is to sort of like make best friends. Not make best friends, because you'll never go and meet them. That's that vibration. Your job is to make friends with this person, with this inner being, with this higher self, with this fuller version. So that's what it would mean from my knowing to get from the mind into the heart. You know what I mean? Even if you don't literally look at it as where the mind is and where the heart is, it's just, look, I know that I'm everything. I know that I'm everything I ask for. I know thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, because when I ask, it is given, and I have but to receive, and it's always being beamed down to receive. I'm just not always tuned to that station that it's playing on. So what can I do to get to that station? It's real fun when you look at it that way, right? When you look at it as you're just tuning yourself like a station, that's it. And everybody's driving along, everybody's at the gym, everybody's at the grocery store, everybody's in someone else's company, and here's a song they don't like, whether it's at a cafe, or it's at work, or it's on someone's iPod, or God forbid it's on your iPod, you know what I mean? So you just roll with it. You find something about it, maybe the beats per minute, you just like how it goes, or it reminds you of something, or a funny story associated with it, or brings back memories of a person. They're just symbols. Does anybody have any questions on anything else? Anything at all? The Q&A seminar. Lots of questions. Here's one. Lately, my anger toward people have hurt me deeply. It seems to be out of control. I'm normally a very forgiving person, but I was wondering if you had any advice for allowing and forgiveness. First thing, again, would be recognition. Just recognize that your forgiveness, which is where your biggest concern is right now, is that you're not forgiving them, and you're just forgiving yourself. You're forgiving yourself for pinching yourself off to have that sort of event, whatever the event was. But let me read your question again. What is my anger toward people that hurt me deeply? So, embracing that anger wouldn't hurt you, but you're like, well, maybe I don't want to embrace anger because anger is a negative vibration. But from where you are, wouldn't embracing it just let it flow, and it will get washed downstream and be replaced eventually? I'm not going to be angry forever. I'm rarely angry for more than 30 minutes, or maybe off and on throughout a day when something bad happens, you know what I mean? So work your way into that mode. Be like, I'm more dominantly positive than I am this anyway, so first of all, this really doesn't matter that I'm angry for an hour today at Bob Joe. It really doesn't. Because dominantly what you've got going on, which is why you're concerned with it in the first place, is you've got going on a conscious, deliberate effort to feel better and to be hand-in-hand consciously the co-creator of your own reality. So, yeah, just recognize that you're the only person that you ever need to forgive. Because you know about attraction, you know about resonance, and you know that whatever that person had on that you're angry at that now knows you're angry, or maybe they don't, that's just something they had going on at their core too. That's just something that they had going on underneath everything, no matter what their words were saying, no matter what their actions were doing. But those are always words and actions. They're always inspired from that vicinity generally, right? but your essence does not lie, and that which is like unto itself is drawn. That's what the law of attraction is. So you should even feel guilty about being angry at that person. Because you're like, whoa, just like I'm not feeling guilty about me being angry, I'm not going to feel guilty about this person now possibly being upset that I'm angry. Because it has nothing to do with them. Law of attraction took them to me and will take them wherever next they're going. But me, I am listening to my emotions and what they're telling me, and they're telling me that something's not up. I don't like this. I'm going to do something about it. I care way too much. I know it's hard to find right now, but I'll just do something. Hell, I'll go for a walk. Shake it up. Do a jumping jack. That's what a ritual is, tying that up. Just getting you to start doing something that you're not used to doing. Because whenever you start something you're not used to doing, it doesn't feel good. It feels hard. But once you learn it, it's like riding a bike. So when you have emotions, whether they're fear, stress, anxiety, pessimism, whatever you want to label it, and wherever it is on the scale of vibration, if there's anything less than where you're okay with being most of the time, then you've got to get out quick. And the easiest way to do that is just to let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. If there's anything else, if you want to, Kelly, if you want to turn your mic on and talk, we can do that. Or if you want to add on to that. I like where you're going. Words possess power, and they really do have an impact. Whether loud or mentally impaired, has been impaired can actually deal with physical ailments. Yes, when you speak sound, it becomes more powerful because it's manifest. It's manifest. But sound is also energy, just like we too are energy. That's why we're most powerful in our purest form. But there is nothing like the things that we can do when we're stuck. You know what I mean? So just make sure that your words are coming from the best place that you want to resonate with. Don't settle for a lower. There's different levels of alignment. Always. You can resonate in alignment with a lower frequency, or you can resonate in alignment with a higher frequency. And whatever frequency you're in, if you ever want to know where you're at, say, what are my top 10 words I say? What are the top 3 people I go to? What is the top things I'm doing? What are my favorite food choices right now? What am I eating the most of? Where am I getting my water from? What is it I'm doing to my body on a daily basis that's helping with it go with the expansion of what I'm becoming as a result of living every day? What is it that I'm doing? Ooh, good stuff. Good stuff. It's all circling around rituals, no doubt. That's good. Kelly, I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about that question, but this is good stuff. Anybody else want to add to it, or you have your own question?
I do. Can you hear me?
Is this Kelly?
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, I can hear you.
Great. So one of the things just to think about is that whenever there's something like an anger or something, there's a need or a reactionary behavior, anytime one of those things surface, it's just an indicator, it's just a red flag in your body that you have something inside that needs to clear because somebody's triggering that emotion. And so if they can get into the space of really digging deep inside to find out what is triggering this emotion, that's a place that you can start to clear. Clearing comes in really letting go of the old past history, letting go of the situation, letting go of all of those things. So I love what you're saying, Daniel. I love that you're saying, to let it go and just recognize it. But there's sometimes more than that, and sometimes it really takes getting deep inside of a person to say we need to let go of those things from the past and allow it to happen.
Your inner being would never say, but there's more to it. Your inner being would know above all what there is in it, and it's all within you. Like getting to the bottom of something or finding out what it was. So Art of Allowing, we'll stick with that, what we said about resonance. If you're giving your attention to it, even though you're giving it to it, asking more clearly for the solution of it, you're playing around, it's like looking for love in all the wrong places, you know what I mean? Where you bring the light into the darkness, which is never the case, that's always the hard way about it. But if you just be the light, then there only be light wherever you are. And you can use that, with others too. It's like when Jesus did his healing, what he did vibrationally was he literally turned the other cheek. and then therefore didn't give attention to the illness and wouldn't meet them with it, wouldn't look and see them ill, just saw them in their wellness, but only because first he saw it within himself. He said, oh, that's what I really look like. I can't look at anyone else any other way because I know what I know. And then that just, that takes over. But again, it's balance, right? Because we know the story of Jesus. But yeah, it's about balance and having fun. And if your choice is to move deeper into an issue because of whatever amount of justification you're going to use, you've just got a stranglehold on that issue. Because always, if your vibration is composed like a song, so it's many frequencies or many levels going on. And as they're playing, your most dominant overall vibration is what you're living. So if you just say, I'm going to start clearing my mind, quieting my mind, meditating, guiding my thought, not thinking those things, not trying to get to the bottom of stuff, but instead distracting myself with something that felt better, even though logically I should probably find out what went wrong, how did it happen, is it going to happen again, were there any risks, is there any collateral damage I'm not noticing right now? But actually that's just perpetuating it in itself. But when you just guide yourself away from that, no matter what the justification is or how it looks, that's why forgive yourself, then overall your dominant vibration becomes a higher one, and those things don't get reflected through experience. So see how it's kind of like, it's like a DJ would start playing a song, and a DJ's playing the song and it's going really quick, really quick, really quick. And then everybody's moving and they're loving it, and then the DJ goes down and nobody's moving because there's nothing to move to. Then everybody gets bored quick, and they get stale, and that's how negative emotion is incubated. That's exactly how it works. You slow down the show. But when you get inspired again and start spinning those records and start moving people, everyone's happy. But if you say, hold on, we're going to turn the lights on until we find the guy with the drugs, we're not playing the music anymore, we've got loud noise complaints, and we could get arrested. You don't want to get arrested, you don't want to have a record, so you're like, okay, we'll close down the show. But your inner being will say, absolutely not, God is a DJ, life is a dance floor, baby. You know what I mean? So instead of having gaps between songs or tracks or going lower than the party you want to play at, just guide it. Just say, I'm going to make it seem like one seamless song. Nope, didn't really feel good to think about that. Nope, didn't really. Instead of puttering around, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel good. How do we get rid of it? But there's always a lighter side to that as well, because you know then that you're still just adding to the clarity of expansion of the universe, right? Your inner being just keeps becoming, but it's standing there also going, why don't you just let it go and line up with what you already have? Because there's so much. You're going to be busy for a long, long time, just, you know, sort of like that. Are you still live, Kelly?
I can be.
Okay, good. That's good, right?
I think what you say is beautiful. I just know that there are so many individuals, and I'll take the 16 clients I worked on this week, that I don't think there was one of them who didn't have something in childhood that was actually holding them back from seeing their divinity, from seeing their beauty, from seeing their source. And sometimes it really does take getting in there and clearing that so that they can actually see. I think you've had the beautiful experience of seeing very early on. You know, you really do. You see and you understand. But it doesn't come that easily to everyone. And sometimes it really takes some, you know, for them to be validated in the fact that it's not going to come that easy. And so some people do need to dig down inside and extract what is holding them back.
That's why I call it the leading edge. There's never a crowd on the leading edge. Because sometimes it's a big pill to swallow, and some people would rather not swallow, but that's okay, because if they weren't there and doing it that way, we wouldn't be in this unique universe we're in today. You know, but when you're that sharp, like I said, your inner being doesn't make any compromise. But those things, it unfolds because that's your vibration. It just seems like there's got to be something else. There's got to be something. And at the end of the long lit tunnel, by the time the kid is now mid-20s, or God forbid, you know, later than that, in late 30s or early 40s, and then discovers, oh, that's what it was. But it took you a lifetime of, you know, resistance. Maybe that hindered you or held you back, or, you know, you worked on it before, but it didn't really work out. Or you just never knew what was wrong with you. You thought something is broken. That vibration, those physical manifestations of those relationships, the situations, or where you find yourself, your circumstances, always come from where your vibration is. And when, as you said, some people don't know this. And if someone doesn't know this, and you tell them the best that you can tell them from your way, then and they don't resonate with it, then there's such a little gap in the frequency that the resonance can't happen. And when the resonance can't happen, all you do is just know that all is well and say, well, I'm not leaving my station post here, my higher vibration, to come down and rescue you, because I believe you, because I know better. But again, some people, and we've all had this, because we've all come to a point of where we're at right now, maybe that's just not that time, then that's for them, you know? I'm going to look at the comments now. I don't know if you're still there, Kelly, or if anybody's still there. I guess the microphone works. Anybody can turn their microphone on. Is that right? Right? Yeah. So, I mean, we're not having to select from people with hands, guys. If you just want to bring about something you want to chew on, just bring it up.
Okay, Daniel.
Yeah.
Are you there?
I'm
okay.
here.
Is it true that by aligning your own personal power with that as a higher power, can you actually make your fondest dreams come true? Do you feel that that is true?
Not only is it true, it's emphatically true. In fact, it must be, because that's where you're at. If you actually know something to be true that much, you're either tapped into your fullness and you know who you are, and you know the vibrational reality of it, meaning it's created in heaven but not yet on earth. You actually are saying, that's enough for me, that I know that. And then therefore, that's your relaxation.
Yeah.
And when you relax in that knowing, then the physical part down here will just start to bleed into your existence and actually start to give you recognition and evidence of that alignment with the higher knowing. But you have to have the knowing first. If you ask people who have achieved those things, what was your key to success, they'll all say the same thing. I just never took my mind off of it. Nothing stopped me from putting focus on it. But the focus you're putting on it has to be from the I can do it factor. If you're not looking at it from I can do it, then that's not going to happen miraculously for you. Something else will that you're the vibration of. I'm not ready yet for it. Well, then you'll always not be ready yet for it.
Okay. So leave yourself open is what you're saying when you're trying to be aligned with that higher power.
Well, yeah, leave yourself open, because there's always going to be something else that you're going to have to align to, because you're always expanding. Do you get it? Every breath you take, every time you walk outside, every time you go to work, every time you get in your car, every time you make dinner, you always have new preference of how you'd like it to be next time, or how you want the experience to go when it happens again, or whatever. Or there's an experience yet now that you now know that hasn't yet happened. That's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you
Expand.
so much.
So don't look at it as you're going to get it done and you've achieved, and thank God, now your higher self is proud of you and you're going to eat a cookie. No, your higher self is saying, what are you talking about? We don't eat, sleep, and drink. We're eternal. Get on to the next thing. And you're like, wait a minute. I'm not ready for the next thing. I like this. And they're like, oh, we knew you'd say that. Go ahead, frolic around. But they know eventually something's going to happen that squeezes more juice out of you, that gets you to prefer something else.
So instead of the cookies, it could be like strawberries and cream. Yeah. Okay. Thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
I'll shut my mic off.
It usually helps to have someone work with you to revisit past experiences and release the emotions. If someone is in alignment with that process will help them through it, and they saw a video, maybe they saw a Dolores Cannon video, and we're all about past life regression, and wanted to have something regress because that was just quite simply the path of least resistance for the person to let go of the knot they kept tying and holding within themselves. The universe, or the higher self that is them, brought that circumstance together so it would just occur to them to just get it done however they need. But when your vibration's highly calibrated, and you know what vibration is and you know what you're doing, that would be someone who's doing a regression or someone who's facilitating the healing. Those people are always knowing of it. That's what makes a great healer. Knowing so emphatically into wellness, the person coming in is hypnotized by the fact that they didn't even recognize them limping through the door. Because you just don't see that. You don't have access to that visual of that person when you yourself are in that higher vibration. So if you yourself are in that higher vibration, and then they come to you and you know that nothing bucks your current, nothing messes with your vibration, then that person too should then become a representation symbolically of your vibration. Yeah? So if you're going out to dinner and you have a bad experience with the waiter, you know, and someone says, oh, I had a great experience with the waiter, it's like, well, that's just it, you see. Everyone's got their own vibration going on, so everyone's got a different experience. But if someone believes that a pill will cure their cancer or a certain diet will enhance their well-being, then of course that's going to be the case. But only if they most believe it. If they're getting into it in a little bit of lack, like, can you tell me what's hiding in my vibrational crevices? Can you tell me who I've become? You know? They're going to want to know more. Well, I didn't remember being abused in a past life. Tell me about it. And then we say, look what you've done now. You've splashed mud all over the beautiful house. You know? You ripped open a can of worms and you were like, let's get down to business about this. And you perpetuate what you're on right now. But again, some people have breaking points like that. Some people will hit rock bottom, as they say, and then skyrocket up. That's what that is. Going to someone for support is only a partner in healing and not a cure. There are many people who need support. Of course. And just as we know how nature takes care of itself through law of attraction, our communities and our thriving nature, because we are thriving, you know, will always be taken care of through law of attraction. Unless there's some other agenda from the collective, which is our dominant energy, which is moving us here, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on with us collectively decides what we all experience collectively. And then you have another co-creative perspective consideration, which is how you're now reacting to this thing you created on a bigger level. So that's what that is. Alignment is just congruency with the higher level. And at the higher level, you'll see why that happened to that person, why this person has that money, why this person has well-being, and why this person didn't really do any of the typical things that were done to achieve well-being from others. Because it's a free world, folks, and it's 2013, and like I said, there's no crowds out there on the leading edge. But when you're out there and you're working with resonance and vibration, we're going to start to see this is the age of the Great Awakening, but amazing things that are going to come from people that didn't have to go and do the dirty and break their back and die a legend in the process of gaining a monument, becoming someone who was heralded as a hero for their hardships. We're just going to start promoting triumph and just focusing on that stuff so those other things won't actually exist. But we know what you're saying about the people that are needing support, and it will always be brought to them in whatever degree that they're allowing it. You know what I mean? And if they don't have extremities and contrast to help them expand, then they don't have access to those who could come and support. It's like, did you ever try to tell someone who may be not well or something about vibration or about energy or the law of attraction, and they're just like, no way, no way. It's the same thing. Even if you gave the person the shot for the disease, if they have it in them in here, then they've got it in them in here. And no healer will be able to take out that disease. So that takes the whole weight off your shoulders, especially if you're a healer. Speaking of, this is my healer lately. This is Jenny. I've never, my friend's cat. We're just cat sitting, but Jenny's a real person, so she's at the webinar as well. Does anybody else have anything, or do you want to chew on this more? Like I said, you can just put little words and bits in the chat box there, and we can just pick it apart. Or feel free to unmute your mic. You know, we don't have an overwhelming crowd here. We can roll with this, which will make it interesting. Somebody tapping in. Man, this lighting's also kind of horrible, guys, as you can see, but I'm in a studio and the lighting's limited here at nighttime, so it's kind of funny though. At moments I look like Edward Scissorhands.
Hey Daniel, I have a question. This is Peyton.
For sure.
Could you suggest an exercise that we could play with after we're done with the teleseminar, and something about allowing certain things to manifest into your experience? Can we get something like that?
Yeah. Number one, breathing. And talk about number two before we go back into number one. Resonance and vibration are just really good words to just ponder, even if you don't know what angle you're hitting it at. You could be hitting it at the angle from I'm a spiritual energy worker, or I'm a scientist, I'm a physicist, I'm just a person, I'm a philosopher, I just have a lot of questions, and where the hell are the answers? You know what I mean? Whatever it is that you've got. Peyton, are you still live on the phone?
Oh, I guess I am.
Okay, good. I can hear the pittering of the microphone, and I just don't know if you're talking.
Okay, well, I'll turn mine off just for now, and I'm listening.
Okay, but if you talk again, just hit it.
Okay.
So you're asking for like a process, just to have those words pondering around you. Vibration, resonance, frequency. It doesn't matter. It's like being at the level of reading tarot cards and not needing to look at the images for guidance, because you're that much in resonance with what is symbolically being represented from the images on the tarot card. So you're so tuned into reality, you don't actually need to use your physical eyes or your physical senses to perceive, because you're perceiving energy, and your physical body, which follows suit, will then take the most appropriate, passive least resistant, which are going to be pretty sharp moves, to do whatever it is you have. That's what I said earlier about premeditating thoughts, or actually meditating your thoughts. But just those words, vibration, frequency, resonance, and knowing that there's two aspects of yourself. Number one, the inner source. The source station that cannot be turned off. Nothing you can do can turn off the source station. It's who you are, and it's everything that you become up until right now. Everything you've ever asked for. All the money, all the well-being, all the lovers, all the cars, all the abundance, all the ease and flow of life, all the beautiful things and places and faces you wanted to go meet, treat, and have fun with. They're all there happening. And that's really the point, folks. That's literally, you've literally got to know that. If you don't know that, then this work will always be unfair to you. Because you'll say, why won't you join me here in this vibration? Why would I? If this is a higher vibration, why go unless it occurs to you as some sort of good idea, which would be for what? Fun, which is why we all came, right? Nothing serious going on here. So just know about what resonance is. And don't let the other things occupy your mind, like the images on the cards. Start to read your cards based purely on how they feel. Have you ever taken a color and put it in your hand and try to, what does this color feel like? And you can actually develop that. So getting to know that every thought you think is a vibration. That is the person in reality, your personality. And now the only thing that matters is what are those thoughts when placed against who I really am. Inner being, or my source station, the highest frequency of my being that I exist on already all now, all the time. And am giving my undivided, loving, unconditional attention to me so that I can be stuck together, so that I can have organs that flush and fuel and pump without effort on my conscious behalf at all. That's how much your inner being loves you. So no, it's not going to come and meet you. So knowing about resonance, Peyton, that would be paramount. And I mean, it is the most transformational tool ever. It's the only tool that I've ever used that has given me radical results. Because everything just started making sense to me, and because I wasn't matching it up to what I saw on the other cards with symbols and pictures, I was just getting it myself. So the same thing is offered to you. Where am I going with thought? And how am I going to go better places with my thoughts? Just knowing you have two aspects of yourself, and you're only ever pointed in two directions. Towards it, feeling good, or away from it. It doesn't feel good. I want a new car. Okay, how do you feel about a new car? Well, I haven't sold my old one. You know what I mean? Or, what kind of car do you want? Well, I want this kind of car, but it costs a lot of money, but I don't want this kind of car because I had that kind of car before and it was stupid. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes fun because you're just like, well, what can I say? I'm like, well, it's about time. I should have had several cars by now, or whatever it is that you're manifesting. Just talk it into words, translate it with your words, how you know it is in your inner beingness. That's why we say see through the eyes of Source. How would Source see it? How would your higher self see the situation? No, they wouldn't see the person ill. No, they wouldn't see the flaw. No, they wouldn't. They don't have access to those things. That's what we're here for on the leading edge. Because they don't have access to it other than as us. And well, try telling that to us. So yeah, resonance. Just remember, you're always resonating, you're always in control. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a huge process, and it doesn't take effort. It just takes, I just care about looking at the lighter side. And you'll notice some people complaining about dinner, some people complaining about the government, or some people complaining about a person or a coworker, or just something in life, just a small thing. And you'll immediately see the reverse of it, not because you thought of the reverse of it, but because it was brought to your attention and you saw something, and for every force there's an equal but opposing force. You just did the bounce around because you're at the vibration where the solution is, and you're the guy who finds the keys. You're the guy who heals the other person, who did what no other could have done. Really funny story. I was just saying goodbye to my roommate, his girlfriend, and his brother, going to a tournament in Southern Ontario for fighting. He does mixed martial arts, extreme focus. And so as he's going, they sometimes have things they do in their community where they bow and they see things, and I can see what's going on vibrationally. But that's not who I am, so I don't want to do those things. But I do other things with the same vibrations, so they don't notice. If I did something like this, they would notice it being more off-kilter than they would an act of whatever, right? Alignment. So as my roommate's girlfriend was leaving, I wanted to not freak her out, but just juice it up a little bit. I wanted to make a choice and have the ability to raise the vibration. So as I was hugging her, and this was a couple times into meeting me, and we have conscious conversations, she says, I'll hug you, thank you for the good luck. And as I'm hugging her, I just start humming a song in tunes like, Om. And she's trying to respect me by staying there, but it was amazing for me because I could feel in her body the vibrations were building up like water's about to boil and you better take the lid off, because it was kind of like, oh no, don't do that please, because everyone was watching. But after I did that, they then left. I hugged everyone else, but she's the only one I did that for a show, for humor, to raise the vibration. As she left, and this was only an hour and a half ago, she left, walked outside the studio 3 feet, and she got shit on by a bird. Like right down her chest. Like she was wearing a white halter top, like, you know what I mean? Like it was pure white, and she's like blonde and frail, but she came in and it was all over her chest, and she said, I just got shit on. And I was like, you know what they say that is? Good luck. And I was wishing them well, but did a So do you see how even though my intent was to say, I am going to infuse you with good luck with my vibration, I know how to do that, which means I just think the best thoughts I can about you, especially why you're here, and then you carry that with you. And so as I did that, my trickery sort of turned out instantly manifest as a bird crapping on her. But that's also double funny here, people, because it's a sign of good luck. So the thing I did, I wasn't aware of, I didn't want to make a bird crap on her. I just wanted to point out humorously, not even knowing I was really, you know, putting good luck into her, but just having happy thoughts. And you see how that's enough? Like, this process is not intricate. There's no books to read. There is no, well, there's audio to listen to. Audio is great. But there's no secret to this, folks, because no one's ever had it figured out, and no one ever will, because we're eternal beings. You're always coming and going. So it's really fun. But yeah, that was a cute story, actually. All too cute. Peyton, I know we were talking with you on there. Was that quenching enough for you, or do you have something else similar that you want to chew on, or something new? Anyone else? How about you, Monica?
That was nice. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Well, while you were describing that, I was able to create a new type of, I guess, map in my mind about how to energetically see, you know, from the mind's eye in a way that I just hadn't yet. So it's fun that we've done all this stuff before, and just to be reminded again, like, hey, remember you can do this, it's some really fun stuff. So I appreciate it, and I'm excited about the stuff that you're doing.
Of course, because we knew we came here to have fun. We know we didn't come here to get things done, to discover everything that needs to get discovered in the scientific field, everything that needs to get figured out in the religious field, everything that we need to know and move forward with spiritually, everything we need to know about plantation, vegetation, and the human. Wait a minute, we are one generation, maybe many close to each other, but that's a really good way to also look at vibration. There's one generation, the leading edge generation, and then there are still others, some still popping off, some middle-aged, some even newer and fresher. You know what I mean? And the ones newer and fresher are always the one like right there on the razor's edge. They're always the upgraded version of what the species before, or generations, has been asking for. So inherently, through nature, they're being born with the equivalent DNA structure of being the change that we've asked for. And then when they get older or they grow up, ideas will occur to them, just like you were saying they were just occurring to you. You were getting roadmaps and images. They'll just know what to do. They'll grow up, somebody's passion will be to fix something else that someone thought was a dilemma. But I didn't even see it as a dilemma. I just thought it was a really cool thing. So nature's taking care of itself in all degrees, and we knew this before we came. We forgot it now that we're here. But if we know it now that we're here, we're not going to strive for perfection, but we will every day strive to thrive in the sense of pushing ourselves beyond what we were in the previous moment. That's a really up to speedness. Pushing yourself beyond what you've been last year is really slow. That's not enough. And you'll feel it emphatically within you. Knowing, you know, that you want to be better than you were a month ago, or last relationship ago, or last job ago. Whatever it is, it just matters right now. That's why they say your power is in the now. Because your attraction power is in the now. Activate a past memory, and you make it right now part of your vibration. Activate a future desire that you don't have yet, you activate it there. And depending on where you're focused on, if you're activating its absence, you're only going to see it and then respond to it. So how can anything really change unless you be the change? So yeah, that's really good. Thanks for bringing that out. Yeah, maybe I should just pick people. Would you guys not want me to pick people? You can write it in too if you don't want to. But how about Patty? If you want to like type something in the type box or something, there must be something. I know that by listening here, it's an experience that's, it's like watching a movie, right? You have this sort of interaction, everybody's focused in one place, everybody wants the best of the best, and the best that is the best will come, and it's always coming. Just knowing that actually is the key to allowing, right? It's always about allowing your resonance. You don't have to tune yourself to what source is because you don't have access to that. You haven't experienced the contrast of life that gives you the wisdom to actually acknowledge the knowledge. If you don't got wisdom, if you don't know where to look, how are you going to find what you want? Well, you say, I know what I want. Then say, well, where are you going to look? And then if you don't really know what you want, focus on the higher vibrational version of it, you say, you're right, I'm lost, I need a map. But when you're in resonance with it on that vibration, thoughts occur to you, people ask you if you want to go there, you get a free ride, you know what I mean? The clients just line up, there are just certain things going on for you. Your well-being is blowing the minds of others. You know, I've experienced that with juicing and things. I'm a fanatic juicer. Huge into juicing, raw vegetables, all that stuff, energy. You know, that's how I started getting into spirituality. And really, whatever the vibration of, you have access to. It wasn't until I went inward and did a vibrational journey and tried to get my vibration into a certain place, not my life or me. Forget me. I'm the guy that I'm bringing along. I just want to know where it is I'm going and why I'm doing it. And it's to have fun and expand because you're always eternal. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? Just really gets fun. And I know sometimes you can't say, Daniel, it's not that easy to be that fun. There are people dying and sick and hungry and yes. And when you go to the sushi buffet, there's rolls that you don't like, but you don't put them on your plate, do you? You know better than that. Why would you do that? That'd be a waste of your focus. Focus on what's going well in the world. What about those coming out with the innovation? What about those who are doing amazing things, not from a place of lack, although they may have had to experience the lack to be able to get something that light, that high vibe. In darkness grows light, right? That's why they say the most highest grounded, balanced individuals that walk the earth all had the dark past. I'm going to read this sidebar here now. Let's see. Yes, we need to be better day by day. Yeah, day by day. And when you get really up to speed with it, Patty, it's moment by moment. Literal, you have instant manifestation. It was insane. I'll share with you a little story that just happened not too long ago, a few days. When I was out with my friends, just enjoying the parks, the beaches, ran into a drum circle, right on the lake here in Toronto. And then as we're walking home, we stop in this store to get some water and some nuts for our walk home. And as we do that, my friend brings over a picture of James Franco and just puts it up to my face and he's like, yes. Because I'm an actor as well and this is what I do. But he was like, this is who I see you as. And now he's sensitive to energy, but maybe doesn't word it like I do and know about it as consciously as I do, right? Life just caused me to get the wisdom. Do you know what I mean? Life causes you to get wisdom. It doesn't cause you to know anything. All you know is what happened. Until you get the wisdom from what happened, which is the best part. The knowledge. God grant me the serenity to accept. See, it's the same stuff. So as we're down there, and he puts that magazine on, like, that's so funny. And then he points out behind there is Lawrence Fishburne, Morpheus from The Matrix. And as that's happening, I was like comparing myself to Neo as a joke and just going on about how reality is created similarly to The Matrix. Very similar, actually. Highly similar. And as we're walking up the street, we walk past a juice bar that's just open, and it's a really tiny, cute juice bar. And I walk into this juice bar with my friends, and who do we bump into, literally 2 feet by 4 feet, but Carrie Ann Moss, who played Trinity in The Matrix. Like the actual Trinity. And now that was just one jaw-dropping synchronicity that I just couldn't believe. I had to ask her 12 times. But I was like, is this really what I'm in the vicinity of? Just talking about the Matrix and how it's a reality. And I always say, give me a little confirmation, give me a little confirmation. And leading up to this, it wasn't just completely out of the blue. There's been a Ducati parked outside my studio for about a week and a half now that I've been petting. And I want one. I don't know why. I don't even know how to ride one. I just know I'll ride one and I'll be really good at it. But Trinity drives a Ducati in The Matrix, and that's where I've seen them like that. That's what inspired me to like the bite. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's a large-scale synchronicity, you know what I mean? So things like that, let those things, and watch this, normal things happen to me too. I don't have access to certain things I want, but that's just the way the story goes. I have everything I need and everything I want that maybe isn't here. I'm okay with it because I know it's on the shelf of the higher vibration. And all I got to do is get in that pantry of vibration, and then I can reach for what's on that shelf. But if I'm not the vibration of it, I can't reach for it. I'm going to read the sidebar again, guys. Okay. What is hers? I wish this was easier. Just kidding. Ayukasa, maybe I'm not saying that right, is an experience that can allow you to see what you need to see at the time that moves you along your journey. It is only one step and should be taken if you are called to it. For sure, absolutely. That's what that is. You'll never not have access to something that is, let's say, out of your range.
Daniel, sorry, you missed the question right before that. Selkit asked if you had any experience with ayahuasca and becoming spiritually aligned, which is why Kelly wrote that, what ayahuasca was.
Okay, and now I'm just going to say from my understanding, or what now knowing, that ayahuasca is a plant?
Yes, it's a plant.
Not exactly sure.
It's in a ceremonial service, and in ceremony, it's actually brought to allow you to, what happens is you are allowed to see what it is that you need to see along your journey. And whatever is most prevalent in your life, you actually allow to see it. It is a hallucinogenic, though. So you have to understand what it is that you're getting into, and it should only be done under ceremony services.
Whatever it is, let's talk about this particularly, that ayahuasca, it would never occur to anyone on average in person to try that. It would take someone who says, I know what ayahuasca is. I've heard of the tribal councils that have used it. I've heard of people that have gone away on retreats and have gotten high on it and have been privy to certain things within their vibration of their being that changed their life, that they felt like was an organized meeting at that time. And it's because it was. And the next best step to get you in alignment with the vibration you're jumping for, your higher self is like, oh shit, he jumped. We got to put out there's a branch. It's out here. Reach for me. Come into the light. Then you're going to have access to, or it's going to occur to you to say, I just heard about this drug, ayahuasca. And then someone happens to say, well, I'm doing it this weekend, bro. Or how about you want to do it with me on Friday, Sally? We'll do it together. It'll be a great experience to meet the collective. However you put it, you will never choose that option or even hear about it if it's not a really probable option to get you to where you want to be. Because anything that comes to you that you use is only being used because vibrationally it will take you a little closer to where you want to be. And it does that by shutting off your other senses and taking you fully active on an interactive 3D holographic adventure of a higher dimensional perception. And if you're not used to seeing things with your higher dimensional perception, like before I didn't really know what it was I did until I chalked it down to vibration. It kind of looks like squiggly lines, not colorful energy. But I now know what squiggly lines translate to what color. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting thing. But if you're drawn to something like that and it feels good, continue to line up with it and do it, and you'll have the experience you will have. But it will also be said that similar experiences can also be had with no substance if the person is focused enough. The substance is just to allow more, to relax your physical apparatus from hooking on to all the stuff it's been hooking on to that stops you in the first place from getting there, what you would call, naturally. But it is used in that degree, and it's great. Use, not abuse. That's great. So if that happens, guys, if I missed that, Charlie, thanks for picking that up. That was awesome. I'm just scrolling, and sometimes I miss because I don't know if this window, mine's really small. I highly recommend using it in ceremony with those. Yeah, so that's really good. I mean, ayahuasca or anything, I'm a big advocate because some people will say, Daniel, you're juicing. you're meditating, I'm with you and profound synchronicity happens and you laugh at it like a little devil. Because I just know what's germane to who I am. And I know that no matter who I'm with isn't going to change who I am. Even though they could say, well, don't you agree with us on this issue that you should agree with us? And I'm like, on a certain level, absolutely. But because I now know what my vibration is and how to maintain it, I'm not going to entertain your conversation or your thought on the person or issue. Are you kidding me? I'm going to direct my attention to the cat over there floating around like a little luscious piece of magical energy of sorts. And then, you know, then that's when you have access to all those, what you would call better choices. See, that's the thing, folks. If you're doing anything like starting a new diet, or you want to start an exercise regime, or you want to prepare yourself for a new ritual, if you're not at the core, the vibrational essence of what it is that you're doing, then you're not going to have access to the things that occur to someone at that vibration. Like if you're looking up to a sports player, or a speaker, or an actor, or a manager at work, or a parent, or anybody, if you're looking at them and you're wondering how it is they do what they do, and concerning yourself with the fact that you can't do it like they do, that's just splitting your energy. It's a very interesting thing when you know that, because when you know that, you say, I don't want to split my energy. I really care about what I'm thinking here. Like, I really do. Even though you're talking about politics, and maybe there's something I need to sign here for work, but I care too much. That's why they call this thing a leap of faith. But there are ways to blend in with it. You know, you don't have to just do it all at once. The whole point here is to keep your comfort level comfortable, somewhere between satisfaction and exhilaration. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to be bored or settle for mediocrity. You'll always want a thrill ride, and try to find it in any moment. Try to find the thrill ride. Really works well if you're at an amusement park. Really well. Anything else? There was a lot of good stuff there. We can continue to talk about it if someone wants to add something to it. Well, yeah, most important thing about this integrating. Ah, perfect. Integration. Let's just see how that will play around, will we? When you integrate something, all it is becoming a match to it in the vibration, so you're resonating to it, and then what you would describe as integrating is actually law of attraction bringing other thoughts, which thicken and form layers. So when you see physical things move, the physical situation or circumstance change, when you see that stuff start happening, you're going to say, ooh, I'm integrating, or I'm integrating like with my higher self or my higher body. Yes. The more you relax the hellhole you have on this low vibration compared to who you really are, and you only have your grasp on that because you know that desires are going to come from it. And you know that when you desire something, the real you becomes it. So it's a win-win. So integration is just being aware of the pieces that are sliding together. This thing over here that's been swirling around in this vibrational reality, let's say it's a sum of money that you're trying to attract and you want to integrate with it. If you want to integrate with that and you become the vibration of it, certain things will start to move around in your reality and you'll start to see like, oh, I know how that happened. It won't really be out of the blue to you. You'll say, oh, of course. Because you understand that expectation is a huge key. And what you constantly think about becomes your expectation, whether you voice it with words or not. Bye, Mom. That was my mom just leaving. Thanks for joining us, Karen. Yeah, I mean, integration is wonderful, especially when you're thinking about it like in terms of your bodies. Like, I want to integrate with my fifth dimensional body. You might say that. You know what I mean? It's the same person who says, I need a specific healer, or I need a specific drug. And the same thing with placebo. If you just do visualizations about, let's say, integrating with a higher dimensional body of yourself, then you'll eventually just start to make the move. You'll start acting like it. Act the part, and you've got the role. That's what integration is. But if we want to look and see the integration and watch it happen, I mean, then that's slower. It's like waiting for Santa Claus to come, and you know if you wait up, he won't come. If you want your reality to change, or you want the integration to take place, then have trust that it's taking place. And then the next time you look, it'll just be there. It'll just be there. That's all it really is about. It's about vibrational sensitivity. Knowing that no matter what's going on, the essence of what's going on started it all. Started it all. And don't beat up on yourself, forgive yourself, and say, well, I only got myself into this mess because I knew I would really want a lot from it. And, well, what good does that do me? Duh! You're forgetting there's another part of you that is you, that's the fuller you, that has become everything you wanted. Now come into the light. Come into that knowing. And the more you just glue your eyes in that direction and head that way, you just don't get sick. You don't have access to a sick body. You don't have access to not being clever. You don't have access to not being tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You don't have access to negative thoughts. You don't have access to the job loss. You don't have access to any sort of discomfort. And when you putter around in that vibration long enough, you always get, there's always something every moment that spits you out a little bit. And if you get spit out and you fall down, and you go down, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But if you make it your point to just, if you come out, say, I don't mind coming out of my alignment, because I know the best part is getting in. When I feel myself integrating, oh, it's so good to see evidence of my alignment run into Trinity at the store as we're just talking about the Matrix. Do you know what I mean? While I'm finding the book, The Peaceful Warrior, about Dan. That's where I found that book. And that's one of the main reasons why she hugged me. So yeah. Thanks for joining us, Kelly. From OHA, lots of people from OHA. So yeah, vibrational sensitivity. It's cool, and it's really cool and fun. It's really cool and fun when you know that there's no serious pressure on you, really. Because it's just one thought at a time. You're not going to change the world. You can't. But you can change how okay you are with what's going on. And in doing that, you'll start to go into a different world. That's you opening the womb to the new world. But first, you've got to be at the vibration where you can perceive this entrance. And this entrance is an integration, or just one situation after another. You just got that logical job, you got inspired to get with that trainer, and you guys worked out on your body, and you guys started juicing, and it was natural to you, and you started seeing the benefits, and you really liked to do it. There wasn't a sense of urgency with it all, because you were cool with where you're at, and you know where you're going, and you know how to stay on track, you know that your emotions guide you, you know that you are the creator of your own reality, you just know this now. So anything else you really do, just sweat out the duck's back. And if that's not the way that you react to it, then stop holding yourself to such a high degree. Let yourself go. If you're beating yourself up enough to say, I feel the discomfort of my split energy so much, then stop. Back up. Go do something. Eat the hamburger if you want it. But watch, you'll always have access to things that are in the vibrational vicinity of where you're resonating. You'll always. That's the best part, you see. Then you know by what you're choosing and who you're being, where you're at. You don't need someone else to tell you. You don't need to read the book to know. You don't need to get the reading to understand. You don't have to get the energy read to know. You just know. It's really good stuff. So we have like 20 minutes left, guys. I know it is kind of late some places across America where you guys are doing this. This might be a good time to let you know that I'm also going to start doing these like weekly. So every week I'm just going to have a meetup, and you can just come on and chat with me. We'll talk about anything. It's always going to be interactive and Q&A. In fact, we'll probably use like any meeting, and you'll see us back in our Ascension forum and stuff, live on there. So there's going to be lots of opportunities to interact. So that's it. Every week. Can you handle it? If anything, it's about the conversation, because this type of conversation, keeping your attention locked, whether you're following it or not, whether you're not understanding because I'm going too quickly, or you're getting a little bit but not a lot, re-listen to it. Hear it back. You'll be listening to it differently, you know? And that's the way we go through life. But the main point is just stand up when you're going. Just do it. Do it to the best of your ability. You know about vibration now. You can't settle. You know about vibration, and it is only the law, it should be a law, the art of allowing. So you know, the more you let the higher vibration just resonate, it's always there to look at. You can always look at the sun and appreciate what it is, what it's doing, and where you're from, and how you've come to be. It takes a moment to do that, but the thought about that actually raises your vibration. And then when you go out into the world with that raised vibration, someone gives you something. Another situation, I was at a taping, actually, an audition, and afterwards I wanted to shamelessly steal some Starbucks wireless. And I said, I'm not going to buy anything because I don't like Starbucks, so I'm going to go in and just sit down and use their internet for a good hour. And in doing that, I ended up actually getting something at the end. I got a coffee because I wanted one, but I didn't intend on doing it. And then the machine, for whatever reason, was freezing up, and the guy just looked at me and he said, it's free today. So I had my little sweet, and I had my little coffee, and I got it for free, and it went right in alignment with what I said about I don't want to give Starbucks any money today. I'm not going to pay for their wireless, and I certainly don't want their food. Then when I caved in and wanted their food, what I had access to was still the vibration of not paying anything. Isn't that cool? That's so cool. That's like those little things, and I know everybody has those things. But when they start happening to you almost on purpose, then you know that you've got this art of allowing things done, because you're just allowing that to be the natural way. Because doesn't that feel good when people just roll out the carpet for you, and people just give things to you, and people just say, here you go, you got it, number one, all-star? That just feels good. So you got to understand that that's how it's supposed to be. So pre-paving the ways is a really, really good thing, way to do it. At least we meet up with special idea. Yeah, absolutely, Peyton. It's going to be cool. I hope you get large numbers and also take it like hugely international, because I want everyone from no matter where you're at to have access to this. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I really want the conscious conversation myself. I really want the expansion myself, deliberately. I get it. I know about metaphysics. I get it. I know about science. I get it. I know about religion. I get it. I know about the global elite. I get it. I know about what's going on behind the scenes. I get it. I know that we're star seeds. I get it that I know we're energy. I get it that I know we come from a solar system. Maybe this one. I get that, okay? So what I'm talking about is, all right, now what? I get it. I have past lives. I get it. Everything's happening at once. I get it. But what are we doing to allow the benefit of that knowledge? Not much. The biggest tool to get you to allow that knowledge and then therefore become the living equivalent, congruent with it, is wisdom. You got to just know. You got to know that even though that son of a bitch deserves your negative attention and what you're about to say to them, you've got to say those words won't come out of my mouth because I care too much about how I feel, and the vibration I'm in right now isn't really good to direct at him. I don't want to say that to that person. That's not who I really am. Ah, beautiful. You caught yourself. And so the more and more you just do that and say, I will not accept anything less than I know I am. What you're doing is training your vibration, and you will see radical results. These little synchronicities are cool. You know, I'm looking forward to taking my camera with me more often this summer, actually, and you'll see videos of just cool things, people I meet, and how I live, I guess, how I come to these conclusions and realize that there is no conclusion. Everything's always expanding, being added to. It's really fascinating. And doesn't that just take the weight off? Doesn't it just take the load off your shoulders to know that you didn't come to fix anything? You didn't come to get some sort of achievement done. You didn't come because your higher self said, I'm enlightened. Now I want you to go down to earth and take as many lifetimes as you want, learn as many lessons as you can, and then become enlightened. No. The higher self says, I don't care what you do, because anything you do, I become the equivalent of. I match you in desire. And you can bring it out into the flesh and flesh it out, so to speak, if you, in the flesh, also hone yourself to the frequency I'm playing it at. If you tune into my station, buddy, I swear you're going to get my song. That's what your higher self is saying to you. Not go forth and bring balance back to the world. Our world is floating at 70,000 miles per hour around a star, a ball of combustious gas, solar radiation. Come on. You don't have anything to worry about. You just got to go with the roll. Rolling with the punches, so to speak. That's really good. When you think about it like this, and this is all it is, applying this fundamentally before you start thinking about anything else. So I'm not saying that any sort of process or tool someone would offer is neither good nor bad. I'm saying if you're attracted to the thing that came before you that you think might take you to where you want to be next, then go and act upon it. But I am saying, well, and I am too saying, that the higher you go in vibration and the more you act on that, those things you're acting on actually aren't so rare. They're all the time. You're like, well, 3 things make me feel good right now. What one do I do? I don't know. See what feels good about whatever one you want, man. Maybe one just has a slight varietal difference. That's how reality works, you know. So it's really good. It's really good to know this as a fundamental. It doesn't conflict with any other beliefs. It's like someone saying, I can see energy. I'm like, well, I can see vibration. It's like another level. It's really cool, and it's literally who we are. Literally. So I guess that would be my in closing, because that was pretty cool to end with, pretty epic. But right now, if there's anything that anybody wants to know, obviously we can chew on anything right up until the full time. I'm more than with it. But if there's anything also that you want to know maybe about me personally, that's cool too. If you want to know where I studied, what I believe in most, what some of my morning rituals are, what I do in my spare time, how I meditate, anything like that, you can ask me that stuff too, and I'll be glad to share with you what it is that, you know, I'm doing to move on with it. Ba-dum-bum. But other than that, it's not class dismissed. Sort of. Anybody, I mean, Charlie, even you too, if you have something maybe you'd like to see something that's done tie up nicely into something else, I can chew a little more.
Yeah, no, I don't have any other questions. I think the talk has been really interesting, and I've been taking in the information, and it's been a lot. And it's been a long week too. So
because it actually goes deeper than what you're normally using to base your reality on, your perception. Your perception is of people, places, spaces, symbols, 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 symbols. But when you get in touch with your feelings, your emotions, you don't need the symbols to know better. You don't need the symbols to choose. You become one who actually deliberately creates symbols. And then others translate your symbols and they're like, I don't know what that was, I don't know how to compute it, but I felt it, and that feeling's enough, because that's a true vibrational shift. Usually your vibrational shift, and it always goes beyond your understanding, because your understanding is always where reality is. And where reality is isn't where it's at, it's where it's been, because it's a result of thinking. So when you get down to the core and just say, this is it, right now how do I feel? And then a thought comes up from yesterday, or something you have to do for work and you put it off for a week, or someone introduces something randomly that you meet, or a friend asks you a question. Do you know what I mean? Something's always going to come to you. You've just got to screen it and say, well, I am going to say what feels best to me. I'm not going to repress myself, but I'm also going to see how can I mold it out deliberately so that it feels best to express that way. And that's what the art of allowing is when you talk about vibration at that deep level. So you don't need to consider, you don't need to go and say, I need to work on my chakras, I need to, you know what I mean, take some sort of herb and do whatever. Those things all help, yes, but they're not the answers. The answer is when you shift to the vibration that clues you in to selecting those things. You know what I mean? Why else would you choose that herb? Why else would you choose that food? Why else would you choose that juice? What do you think made you choose it? You're like, well, I chose it because I want it to be different. No, yeah, you do want to be different, but inside of you is really, really, really different. It's more full. And so it becomes more fun to play around with that vibration because your life physically becomes more full. And you're like, I'm not even looking at half the stuff I looked at before. Everything must run. My chakras must be exactly as they are and as tune as I know I'm in tune with. I'm not going to go meddling around because I don't know how to do that. But if you are inclined to do it, then you're probably going to be someone who works with those things, chakras and energy that way, because there's other people in the world that have been asking for someone to do that. So everyone's just filling in their own role with everyone else. So there's no exclusion. Everybody's included. But we're automatically going towards progression, expansion, evolution, eternal nature. We're constantly moving. So that's why it's fun sometimes for when I talk about like normal things. I like to call them normal things, not vibration and not resonance. Because then we can drag it into, well, how does it apply to those normal things? You know what I mean? How does talking about energy apply to what I got to do for my boss tomorrow? Or to my student loan debt? Or to my credit card debt? Or to my partner who I've kind of been neglecting because I just can't put these books down? I'm on a path of self-discovery. How do I tell that to my partner who I'm committed to? Or my children? Or how do I just tell my employer all of a sudden I don't believe what I believed before, I'm a different person, and not get fired? You know what I mean? So balance. Balance, but a new job will come up. The relationship will expand. The money will be deposited, certain things. It's really fun, but it takes a lot of faith, and that's what they say, you know. It is your faith that makes you whole. Ba-dum-boom. Well, that's it for today's show, folks. So if you guys don't want to have any personal questions with me right now, then we can just do this again. But in conclusion, it was wonderful, beautiful exchange, co-creation. And this conversation, regardless, is an amazing piece because we're talking focus here. We're talking vibration. This does something. Our attention along this for 2 hours, held this way, has results that you'll feel in your dreams tonight, that you'll feel tomorrow when you see the synchronicity, blaze trails for you. And you'll be like, what was it I did? Oh yeah, I held my vibration, my attention, to either someone instigating it or a spontaneous feeling of it within myself. And I just held my attention there. And that's how things shift. That's how integration happens. But yeah, it was wonderful speaking to those I spoke with. Good time. And again, on the Facebook page, or like my Facebook page actually, if you don't already, you guys will find out more about these weekly webinars that I do, which are going to be cool. Yeah. Charlie?
Yeah, sorry, I'm here. Just had to get my mic unmuted. Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you for that. Yeah, I don't even really know what to say. I think it's a really interesting talk, and I'm looking forward to sharing it.
Yeah, maybe this is why it happened at night, because I'm ready to kind of go to bed. It's almost 11, you know. I'm like, this is a really good note to leave on, but it's also, this is like my first live event like this, so it's really good to feel the flow of electricity, but I hope you guys come back so that we can chew on this stuff further when it's marinated and we can sort of have a feast together, you know? It's really good.
Yeah, definitely. We should talk again in the future about seeing if we can set more up or you know, figure something out. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm glad it turned out well, finally.
But there we go, law of attraction again. I guess it was literally meant to be this way. And I always wanted to have my friends, my roommate's paintings here. I don't know if you can do this, but this is like, that's about 10 feet long and 4 feet across. But she just does these amazing paintings, which I'm going to start to incorporate in my videos and stuff, because I know what that vibration does. If you guys were watching me, and I didn't even prop it up to be like so cool and aligned with this painting here, but it actually enhances it. When you go to a magic show, a magician swings around a wand to get your attention, right? So anything of a higher vibrational content whether they were conscious of when they painted it or not, or sang it or wrote it, helps with you in distracting yourself into allowing more of who you are. You know, ta-da!
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goodbye. Come and say goodbye. My cat's saying goodbye too. I don't really have a cat, but this is my adoptee. In the moment I. So Jenny was here. And again, thanks guys. Let's hope to see you next time. And Charlie, thanks again for having me. I really love it. And let's do it again.
Yes, thank you. And it was wonderful having you as well. Thank you everyone for joining us. And I hope you all have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Well, at least here in the States. I don't know. Do they do that in Canada?
They do, but they did it last weekend, and we called it May 2-4 weekend, or Queen Elizabeth Day.
Oh, cool. Well.
Ours last weekend, but I'll bask in the fact that you guys are having one again.
Cool. Wonderful. We'll meet in the vibrations.
Absolutely. All right, thanks again, guys.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.